Hey guys, just a quick little break. Don't look at the back of the child. I barely made my bed today, okay? I'm about to buy me some new comforters this weekend, treat myself to something nice. I'm sick of looking at that green. I might get red this time. A red sheet set or a red comforter set, something red. But I want to mix it up though. I want to make it maybe red with blue or something. Like light blue like water. Red puts me in a fiery mood. I want to get red lights for this truck too. Yeah, I want to do that. I'm not staying on here long because I don't know, I feel like every time I make a video, I gotta rush off of here and I don't do the people justice. Some people don't mind quick videos, but I'm not a quick type of girl. I like it long and intense. So y'all, I was talking about, how bad is it back here? My pajamas are still there. I was talking about being an empath and how that journey, because it's basically a journey, being a super empath, because we're all basically trying to learn ourselves, right? This is part of the journey, learning yourself. Sometimes our parents do us a disservice and they either torture us, exploit our good traits, turn them bad, and then, psychopaths are born and narcissists are made, but they're leading the globe in their sabotage, right? And then they leave the empath with the pieces to pick up. Basically, we're the cleanup crew. Look at it like that. But when you're dealing with your super empath, well, catch my other two videos so you can see what I'm talking about. But what I will do is I'm going to go on my laptop right now after I make this video, and I'm going to incorporate the video 1, 2, and 3 so that you can see it up in the corner when the video's finished. So you can just click on it. But empaths are like the cleanup crew of everybody's crap, right? And then you get to that point where you can't stand being everybody's cleanup crew. But if you're not an evolved person and you have super empathic qualities, you're gonna get played a lot, and then you're gonna have either a bad attitude, always misunderstood, and I know you get tired of that. So you got to get to that point where you figure out a strategy on how to win and not always be on the losing end of the stick. I'm making an egg sandwich with bacon, with turkey bacon. So I didn't really have breakfast this morning. I hope it's not too loud. Um, when you have empathic personality and you're like, let's say you're at work or something, and people are trying to like exploit your good ways, and then you have a situation where you have conflict behind that because maybe you might have promised to like bring everybody coffee or do somebody's last minute work that they should have done, and you change your mind and you just say, fuck it, I don't want to do it. You just leave the office, and next thing you know, there's a whole shit show the next day, and they throwing your ass under the bus because they're like, well, she was the last one said she was going to do it. And you're like, well, technically I didn't have to because it was your job. So now what's going to happen is like, now you're putting up, and they're putting you in a position to stand up for yourself, but since they know that you're an empath, they're going to make it look like it's your fault or you're the problem. Because you remember, people need to find a scapegoat for a lot of their crap. Excuse me. You see, every time I try to get on the video, my throat start acting up. Maybe it's psychological. I don't know. But you got to get to that point where you hold your own responsibilities for what you believe to be true for yourself. Everybody's not going to flow with your standards. Everybody's not going to flow with what you want to do for yourself. So when things get into a situation where there's a roadblock and a conflict, you cannot give in. I know it's easier said than done, but setting boundaries become a skill after a while. You have to practice it. It's not something you're just going to come easy. You be like, as soon as somebody asks you for something, say no. It don't work like that because you remember, this is part of your nature now to be very empathetic to other people's needs. When you do something out of the goodness of your heart, and then you find that after you do it out of the goodness of your heart, it's expected of you. It's okay to change your mind. You have to tell yourself this. You literally have to talk yourself off the ladder. It's okay for me not to pick up my phone. It's okay for me to ignore people. It's okay for me to tell somebody off if necessary if they keep pushing my boundaries, right? Now, don't get into a situation where now you're fighting. You know, you want to, the whole idea is you're trying to like protect your energy and protect your mental headspace. But let's say, you know, as humans, you can't avoid conflict. You may have some opportunities where some situations pop off and you got to flex a little bit and let people know, look, I'm not the one, two, or three. Don't play with me. But at the same token, don't let it get too catastrophic. The whole idea is you want to set yourself up, to pretend this is chess. You want to set yourself up on that chessboard where the play and move that you're moving on that board is not easily knocked down. And how it's going to get easily, is that thunder? How it's going to get easily knocked down is you don't know your position. So you're constantly moving in the wrong, this is raisin bread. You're constantly moving in the wrong spaces. You're going in the wrong spaces. If you're around people that don't like your empathy, that they don't like your empathy, or they want to use your empathy, or they want to mock your empathy, don't feel like you have to be around those people. If they're trying to cause conflict and you know who you are as a person, don't feel the need to prove yourself. How you prove yourself to people that don't know you or people that are misjudging you is continue to be steady in who you are. I'm a fixed sign. Anybody that's a Scorpio, a Leo, Aquarius, and a Taurus. Taurus is the most fixed out of all the zodiac, and so is Leo. They're the most stubborn, most unmovable signs. And Scorpio is close running, and so is Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius or Scorpio, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a Leo, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And if you're a Taurus, you for sure know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't change easily. Y'all don't let people push you here and there, and you know what I'm saying? But depending on how you were raised, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, because at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't know better, you're not going to do better. So even though I was raised to be an empath because my parents took advantage of me, I didn't know any better. I'm a Scorpio, yeah, I'm a fixed sign. I'm fixed in my emotions, right? Aquarius, mental. They're fixed in their thoughts. Leo, fire. They're fixed in their fiery attitude. So if they're selfish, they're going to be fixed in their selfish ways. If they're vain, they're going to be fixed that way. That's going to be their dominant leading attitude. Taurus are just in the lead by their own, okay? Taurus, if they're fixed in their laziness or if they're fixed in their go-getter motivation for money, whatever they put their mind to mentally, Taurus is an earth sign, so they're about material. So if they're fixed in the material things that they like, they're going to be fixed in the liking of it. So if they like shoes, if they like clothes, if they like food, money, they're going to be fixed in that. They also like to be in love and stuff like that too. But I'm just saying, even with all of those powerful traits in a sign, if you have been raised to be weak, to be soft, to be docile, you're not going to know better. So what for me, where it bothered me growing up is with me having a fixed, strong personality, being raised to be docile, there was always so much internal conflict within myself. Me always second guessing. Should I say this? Should I tell this person no? And inside of me is like screaming, stand up for yourself. Don't let this person do this. Say this. And then I'll hold it in because of my super empathic ways. And then by the time it comes out, I'm like going off. Like, don't play with me. But by then it's so catastrophic that you can't reel yourself back off the damn ledge. So you got to get control over your dynamics, your constructs, the things that you build, your value system, your core self, the things that make you happy, the desires that you have, the needs. You have to figure out how to construct them efficiently. Because if you're going around with no direction, your personality has no direction, the things you want, the things you desire, there's no direction, anybody can come and knock you off of your stance. And then You got to always kind of keep rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding just to feel whole again. You got to get tired of living like that. So come in the situation, no matter what you're doing, your job, your family dynamics, relationships, come into it empowered. Come into it knowing what you're not going to stand for, what you're willing to let go of. Like as far as if somebody say, hey, I need you to do this for me. If you know you're a person that you don't mind doing stuff for people, but it's only on how you feel, let them know that. Say, hey, normally I would go get coffee for people, but I don't feel like it today because I got a lot of things going on. And if they change on you because you are setting your boundary, they can kiss your ass. Because if a person really cares about you, if somebody tells me, hey, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, I'm not going to be like, well, this person is an asshole, I don't like them no more. That means you're the asshole because you don't like them no more. I'm not saying you, I'm saying the person that is putting that pressure on another person, right, to do stuff, to be of service for whatever reason. If they can't take the no, the boundary that person set, that's not a person I want to be around. I don't force people to do stuff for me. If you don't willingly want to do it, it's like, okay, no big deal. But if every time I ask you to do something for me and you say no, and then you expect me to do stuff for you all the time, there's not an equal balance here. So now I'm going to cut you out of my life. So it just depends on the scenario. But a lot of times people feel entitled. For example, let's say you go to a store. I'm the type of person, if I'm not ready, but I'm on the line, let's say I got my pocketbook or I'm maybe trying to figure out how many things I got in my cart so I don't overpay. So at the last minute, I might start looking for something. And if somebody gets behind me and they got like only one or two items, I might say, hey, you want to go ahead? You can go ahead. But if you notice, if you're ever that type of person that ever did that, and then two more people come on the line and they see that you let that one person go in front of you and they looking at you like, you gonna let me go in front of you too? And you looking like, no, I'm not. Like you ready to get back on the line or whatever. No, you didn't get out the line, but you know what I'm saying. So they staring a hole in your head like, well, why you let that person go, but you don't let me go? It's like this entitlement. If you're nice to that person, you need to be nice to me. No, the fuck I don't. I don't need to be nice to everybody. I be nice to who I feel like being nice to. And this is how people can set you up to say, oh, you're this person, you're this way, or you're this way. Let them say whatever they want. Because at the end of the day, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if one person might like you, another person may not. One person might find you attractive, another person may not. One person might find you bougie, another person might say you're down to earth. One person might say you're sweet, another person might say you're salty. People are finicky. They're fickle. So it's about, who do you think you are? Who do you represent in your core being? If you had to write a list of your core traits and who you are and what you stand for, your principles, your values, your morals, everything that makes you the person unique to this society, what would that list look like? What makes you cry? What makes you smile? What makes you feel like giving? What makes you feel like not giving? Right? These are all core things of you. When you switch those core values based off of situations, that means you are now using your states versus your traits. If you take your states and they don't never match your traits, you're kind of doing like a split personality kind of situation. And it might come off like a personality disorder, sort of like borderline disorder. Borderline is your emotions are so raw and destabilized that situations tend to make you completely different. Like you become completely different in your personality. So even though you might be at work and three people might say different qualities about you, they're still going to say something that's a core of you. They're still going to be like, if they really ask these people, well, this person might be sassy to you, but this person might be down to earth. But those two people might still say something similar about you. They might say, Or she likes to come in every day on time. Or she likes to do her table, her desk always looks a certain kind of way. She talks about her children a lot. So that might be a similarity that those people might say, because that might be your core, the core value that you have. So even if you might change in different situations as far as the states, your traits are still very prevalent in all scenarios. So you don't want your states to be completely left field from the traits. So your states is the way you act based off of a situation. You're still applying your traits, but they may change based on the situation. So if somebody's pushing your back against the wall, if normally you're a calm person, but based off of the situation that you were placed in, your state, you might become agitated, you might become aggressive. So if that's not normally the trait you have, you're normally an easy-go-lucky person, they will say, okay, well, normally that person is happy-go-lucky. So what what happened that made them in this state? When, like, let's say there's a situation with a police officer and a crime took place. When they do the investigations, they have to come up with something called a motive, right? When they're looking for motive, they also got to look for the person's personality. They want to see your personality and they want to see your states. So they'll look up your history to see if you have prior records, like if you constantly go into situations and you're committing crimes in these situations. So they'll know not only is this your personality, but it's also your state. So when you go into situations, you like to stir up trouble. So if you're like an aggressive person all the time and you have a history of getting into aggressive situations with people, that will be your personality, but it'll also be your state. Does that make sense? So you want to get pretty pretty close in both scenarios when it comes to your personality. When you're a super empath, you might have a lot of different states. So it might come off like you're a chameleon to a lot of situations. So you might be helping too many people at one time. You might be curbing for one person and you curbing for another person. So let's say you're at the job and two people don't like each other and you promise to go help somebody at their house with this situation, but that person don't like that person. So now when you go help the other person another day, they're sitting there bashing and talking about this person like a dog and it's making you uncomfortable. But because you're a super empath, you're trying to be all empathetic and listen like, oh, that's what they did. You know damn well this person is an asshole because they shouldn't be telling you, the person that just helped that person, all these bad things about that person, knowing that you and that person are still cool. They're trying to force you into an uncomfortable situation, and then they don't have enough care to see that it's making you uncomfortable. So you have to get to that point where you're setting boundaries appropriately when people are placing you in different states. They're placing you into situations you're not comfortable. So let's say you say, okay, I'm gonna help you after work, do such and such and such. And then after work, y'all go out and they want to talk about everybody at the office, everybody and their mama at that, right? But you're not comfortable talking about these people. And then you tell them, well, I think these people are cool. I don't really like to get in people's business. The fact that they trying to act like, oh, they didn't get the hint. They're like, so you cool with them? Okay, well, I still don't like that, right? And they keep going and going and going. What that's going to do now is it puts you in a situation where it could look like you are gossiping. People be like, oh, she hung out with that girl the other day, and that's the girl that don't like nobody at the office. Now you in some shit. So now let's say they get into an altercation, that same person you went out to have lunch with or something, and she comes and says, well, yeah, I told Cece that I don't like how you da 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 da. Next thing you know, they like, oh, so you and Cece was talking about me? Oh, that's what y'all was doing? Now, this is how people put people into situations that really they shouldn't have been in. So now you trying to like save face and was like, oh no, I was just eating with her. I was just listening. If you feel something is unjust and you feel that somehow maybe you might be getting pulled into something or you just don't like the energy, stop faking the funk. Just tell the person, listen, I gotta work there. I don't want to hear nothing about this situation tomorrow. It puts you in a respectable position. You're gonna be you're gonna be setting a precedent, even though it caused that tension at the lunch. You're gonna have tension after that conversation, okay? Super empaths tend to not like to have what do you call that? Not conflict, but we tend to not like tension. You know what I mean? Like we feel like, damn, I hope I didn't hurt her feelings. Because we're so busy worrying about morphing into other people's feelings. Like, have a boundary. Set that wall when you know you're finna tell this person something that might make them feel a little uncomfortable, but they need to hear it. They need to hear it. When you tell them that, they're gonna be like, oh, they might stop talking. They might start acting funny. We don't care. The whole idea is you're not supposed to care at that point because you have set your boundaries. Your boundaries is more important at that moment because you are being put into something that you did not approve of. And this is where super empaths make that mistake. They so trying to like, oh, I don't want to offend nobody. I'm gonna give you an example. Yesterday, I was with this trucker guy. He getting his truck fixed. I'm getting my truck fixed. We all in the shop. Everybody was cool. Nobody was really having no beef. And he was telling me how he feel about like being in certain cities with white people that might be racist and things like that, right? Cool, I can agree. But when you dealing with somebody, I don't care if you got how you say, preconceived notions of people. What you're not going to do is drag me into that preconceived notion on everything because I'm a liberal thinker. So I guess the guy that helped me with my truck, I was cool with him. I was having jokes and stuff, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause he was very helpful. So he cut his finger real bad. The dude that was getting his truck fixed or whatever, he was on his way to the front of the store to get some food. I was about to go get some food too. I was about to pick up some little like things at the, like at the truck stop. So we were gonna go over there together, walk over there. When the situation happened where the guy cut his finger, it was blood everywhere. He was gushing blood out his finger. So I stopped because he crawled out from under my truck bleeding. The dude that was trying to get his food or whatever he was trying to do, he was waiting for me because he started walking towards the front of the exit of the garage, and I was like, "Oh, are you okay?" The guy that crawled out, the mechanic that crawled out from under my truck. I was like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" This man is holding blood, okay? So he's shaking. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he about to faint." So he goes to go clean it up. I said, "Oh my gosh, do you need some?" I start panicking like I'm feeling his pain. So I said, "Do you need what do you call that thing? Antibacterial?" And he was like, we got a first aid kit." So he comes out with the little thing. He's his hands are so dirty from the truck dirt. So I was like, "Well, try to clean that up first. Try to clean it up." So we both at the sink. The other guy getting in, like, he rolling his eyes like like he owned me or something. Like, "Are you gonna come on?" He didn't say it, but he was looking like, are you coming? Like, are you coming? Like, why are you helping him? He looking like, why are you helping him? I'm like, first of all, this is why I say super empaths are the type of people we trigger, not intentionally, but we trigger people to feel that they can possess us because we openly surrender to people. We openly, it kind of looks like we're openly, what's that word? Submitting. So now you, especially if you're a female, you're submitting, you have a submissive nature, the way you handle people. You're just very submissive, right? So there, a person might be like, "Oh, this is perfect. I could talk to her. I could come on, what are you doing?" What they don't realize is even though I might be a super empath, this is me talking for myself now, because not every super empath comes from New York. Not every super empath is a Scorpio and from Trinidad. Those are three double whammies that will kick your ass. So even though I'm like as soft as a dove, I'm also as tough as a cactus. You know what I'm saying? So those two dynamics, my Google Maps is on and it's talking in my ear. So with me having all these strong personality, I have a very strong personality to the point where if a person is trying to break me, they get exhausted. They get exhausted. I was raised by a Scorpio father. who was diabolical in his psychopathic ways. So you already know what I got to go through mentally, that I have the capability of dealing with the mentally ill. I don't break easily. I get I get soft because of my super empath and the things that I've been through, so I cry easily. If my feelings get hurt, I will cry. But while I'm wiping them tears, I'm kicking your fucking ass, right? So those two don't go together. People are like, oh shit, I thought she was as soft as a dove. I thought I could play her. And then when they realize, no, the game's on you, cake in your motherfucking face. That's when it's like, okay, now I gotta ruin her. Now I gotta go against her. She can't be a super empath if she ruined me. Yes, a super empath can still ruin you. That's where people get it mixed up. But you gotta get to that point where you set the dynamics where you don't even have to go to war with people. You can peep it before you gotta go to war with them. You see what I'm saying? So I'm over here helping this guy from the kindness of my heart. Okay? I'm the type of empath, if I see a person cry, I'm already crying with them. I don't even know why they're crying. I could just feel whatever happened to them. I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? What? Please tell me. Maybe I could help. You in talk? I don't even gotta know you. You could be sitting on a park bench and I'm like, oh, okay. It's a gift, but it could be a curse if I don't utilize it right. So after I helped the guy put the band-aid on, he's like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I think his wife called right after that. And he was like, this lady helped me with the band-aid. And she's like, what, I don't know what she told him. She was telling him to do something. And he's like, well, I got a big ass cut on my finger right now. Like, that's a priority. So he's trying to tell her, and she's like, oh, you got a cut? So I guess she got so used to talking to him a certain way. So I just excused myself after I helped him put the band-aid. And I go to the guy because he's still waiting, right? My whole thing is, we don't know each other, sir. You could have went right on to the store without me. So, you know what he says to me? We walk into the store. He's acting quiet. Obviously, he likes me because why are you worried about what I got going on over here that you don't even know me? But people will put an investment into you, beknownst to you. They're investing how they're going to own you, and you don't even know about it. They putting a whole plan in their head on how they're going to possess the situation or possess you. This is why I said, as a super empath, when you peep stuff, don't let it slide. So we walk into the little truck stop because it's not next to the shop. So we're walking down the little truck alley or whatever, and he says to me, at first he wasn't really talking. Then he says to me, with this smug look on his face, yeah, I see you get a lot of attention. I said, I sure do. I'm from New York City. What you thought? I said it just like that. I said, I sure do. I'm from New York City. What you thought? What you thought? Well, I'm just saying, like, I can't get attention. So I was like, what's the problem? And he's like, no. He had to fix. It's like they morph, and then you catch them, and then they shapeshift back into the fake mask. He shapeshifts. Oh no. I'm just saying. So we go into the store, right? And this is me reading people's body language. We go into the store, inside the store now, and I just have an aura of friendliness. That's just how I am. So, I think the man opened the door. Some man opened the door. And I said, oh, thank you. Ain't you a gentleman? I said, okay, chivalry is not dead, right? And he was like, no, ma'am, no, it's not. I'm in the South. So he's like, no, ma'am, no, it's not. He over there in the back. Oh, thank you. So I turned around to ask him something, and it's like, he ain't answered me. He just walks off. And it's like this strange tension now. I'm like, I just felt like he started making me feel like I offended him. I'm like, what? Why am I feeling like this? I don't like the way he's making me feel. So this is where the exchange of energy comes in. This is what happens with super empaths. This is how we connecting with people. We're paying attention to a lot of things because super empaths tend to be sensitive and they tend to be hyper vigilant. Not empathic people. Empathic people, they tend to kick in. The empathy tends to kick in at the right time when it's necessary. So let's say it was that situation, reverse. The guy gets the cut on the finger. The empathic person will say, you need anything? And the guy says, you help the person. The empathic person is not going to be paying attention to what the other guy is doing or what he said about her. That person might just, it might just go over their head. But the super empath, the reason why we get bothered by it is because the super empath tends to go far and beyond helping. Like the empathic person might just bring the band-aid to the person and say, okay, well, take care. The the super empath gonna stand there and make sure you got the band-aid on right. They're gonna make sure they pick up the little pieces of the band-aid paper. You like, you need anything else? You okay? You sure you're okay? That kind of thing. And then, so then what happens is the the people that's around that's peeping what you're doing, they're taking notes. Oh, so she's a little extra. Okay, we see. Oh, she's a little extra friendly. Okay. I wonder if she's friendly with that booty. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So, so now you got this other person who's plotting, like, okay, well, she seems sweet, so maybe she'll do that for me too. But now they want to do it on some predatorial type shit. Oh, so we go back to the grocery store. I let one person skip me because I felt the need to say that was appropriate. That person had one item. But now you got two more people who want to skip you. But now they're skipping you without your permission. So this is what happens when the super empath opens up the floodgate of care. You got the little gremlins coming along. Oh, I need to hitch a ride too. So now when you turn and you close the door because you see it's coming. You see it, right? Because you're super vigilant. You see it coming. So now you close the door right quick. Now, and you think about it, the super vigilance is to help you. It's to protect you. But so you don't have to keep using those radars if you stop it immediately. Does that make sense? So now the guy's asking me, oh, I see you get a lot of attention. But why are you saying this? Why are you saying this so smug? I didn't have to confront him like that because I already peeped what he about. I'm like, why are you saying it like that? He's like, oh, I see you get a lot of attention. He remind me of my ex. He just be hating. My ex used to get mad if I'm on the phone with him and somebody's helping me with the truck in the background. He'd be like, salty as a mug. Salty for the rest of the conversation. I'm like, you know what? I'm not finna deal with this. I'm not finna, you act like I'm sitting up here inviting the person inside the truck with me. I'm telling you, people feel like they could own you. You're a piece of possession, your property. So we go in the store and he's still acting all kind of weird. So when we start walking back to the truck stop, I was like, you don't think people should get attention? You don't think you get attention? I didn't say it like in a confrontation. I said, let me ask you a question. You don't feel you get attention some way, somehow? And he was like, oh yeah, I do. So when I realized that he switches masks real quick, the conversation is over. Now I see what type of person you are. You're a chameleon. You don't keep it real. You go from one thing to one thing. Your personality is shifting too much. So now I don't know if I could trust what you say because you're shifting everything you're saying. And then I'll say something and he's like, oh yeah, I love kids. I want to have more kids. And then when I mentioned later on down the line, I was like, yeah, I ain't having no more kids. I'm an empty nester. And he's like, yeah, I don't even want no more kids myself. Really? Did you not remember 20 minutes ago you said you want to have a big family? That's what I'm saying. People, they're fake. Not people in all the way around. I'm saying, peep how people gravitate to, if you're a super empath, peep how people are gravitating to you. They're gravitating to you on a need basis. It's not organic. You see what I'm saying? They're like, oh, there's a benefit around here. Something's going on. There's a benefit I can get. They're not looking at it in an organic connection. Let me just connect with this person. Be natural. Be open. This is why it becomes problematic. This is why super empaths tend to attract controlling, narcissistic type energies. You see what I'm saying? Because narcissistic type energies, they tend to flow more to easily flexible, adaptable personality types. And if you're adaptable, you tend to be like, oh, I'm sorry. And you're moving out people way too much and you overly adapting. People will take advantage of that. We're not living in a nice, friendly, peaceful, heavenly world. You have to train, like when I was telling my kids when they were young, watch how people talk to you. When you go outside with these little kids is bad. And they will do stuff to you. They will try to set you up outside. Because my kids were they were so cute when they were little. They were very friendly, very open because that's how I am. But I will see when they go outside and play, and I hear little kids cursing at 5 years old, 6 years old, and I'll go outside the window like, yo, come upstairs for a second. And I'll give my son a pep talk. I said, when you go back out there and you see that little boy come back over here, don't be so quick to give him your scooter. Don't be so quick to share your little bicycle with him. He's like, why, mommy? He wants to ride the bike. I said, because he's a bad little kid. He will take your bike. And my son be like, okay, mommy, okay. So my son also had to learn the hard way. He was super empathetic, my son was. And part of that was because I, a little bit like my father, who trained me to be super empathetic on purpose because he abused me, I had that trait and I kind of pushed it into my first two kids, my oldest, and my second child. My third child, I almost thought she was narcissistic when she was a kid. You'd be like, mommy's thirsty. Get mommy some water. And she's like, I don't feel like it. I'm watching cartoons. I don't feel like it. And then my son would be like, you need anything, mommy? What you need, mommy? He's just so, everybody gotta get, everybody wants something to eat. He'll come. My son was such a sweetie pie. And now he don't give a flying fuck about nobody. The one that I thought was going to be less empathetic, the youngest, she's a sweetie pie. She's very caring. So this is what I'm saying is like, eventually you morph into who you're really supposed to be, your full potential. My son, he kind of like was weighing back and forth with all the extra emotions that came from being raised around a lot of girls, a mom, a grandmom. It's a very high dominance of feminine energy in my family. The two boys at one point was locked up, my brothers. So it was like my son was always catering to the feminine energy. And then he felt taken advantage of, and then he, about like 11, maybe about 11, he's just like, I don't feel like nobody loves me. He sat down on the bed with me one day. We're just talking, because even though I would be like, hey, go get me some water, go get mom some water, go get your sister something, go take your sister to the store. I was always, even though I was giving to my son, because I'm still an empathetic person, I had a bad trait of also taking advantage. And I own up to that. That's why I said, made a video about 2 years ago where I really sat all my kids down one by one on my own in the room with just each child. Not the same day, over time. And I talked to my children and I said, what could I have done better? Like I cried with my kids. I said, what could I have done better to make you feel loved? What did I not do? I'm learning. This was a couple years back. And each one of them told me. They didn't tell me straight out at first. Because you got to keep going back to your kids. You can't just expect them to just, bleed out. So they'll be like, you was good, Mom. It was just a few things. And it's like, no, tell me, what was a few things? Well, you did this a lot. You didn't really hear me a lot. Things like that. So my son one day at 11, he was just like, I just didn't feel loved. I felt like they were the favorite. The two girls were the favorite. You always favored the girls. I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, they were always picking on me. You never protected me. You never protected me, mommy. I was depressed because you never protected me. You don't know how that hit different when your boy child tell you that. So these are things I had to learn as an empath, that even though we're not perfect as empaths, we can still feel the pain that we cause people. You see what I'm saying? There's people you tell them that they cause you pain and it don't faze them. They don't give a fuck. But when you tell an empath that they hurt you, it hurts them to the core. And I told myself, I'm gonna fix this. And that's what I've been doing. I fixed the bond between all my kids. Whatever was like a difficulty, we worked it out. We talked it out. We cried it out. We hugged it out. Now they come to me openly. They're vulnerable with me. They grown, but they vulnerable with me. You know what I'm saying? If my son got issues, he's gonna call me. And if I ain't hear from him in a while, I'll call him. I'll be like, what's going on with you? And he'll be like, I don't know, Mom. This week I've just been feeling some type of way. We'll talk about it. But what I'm saying is, it's a gift, but it could be a curse. So you got to know how to balance it out so that you don't become people don't siphon it off you, either to control you, possess you, make you their slave. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I do gotta go. I gotta make the rest of my food. But we're gonna keep talking about this stuff. And as I learn more, because I'm in psych school, and it's going to come to a point where we're going to learn how to do treatment, proper treatment for certain conditions. We're going to be delving into that next semester. Oh, that's going to be juicy. I can't wait. Right now, we're just doing more research. Research development is very difficult. They may ask me at the end of my course to come up with a dissertation on some type of research on how I'm going to make a difference in maybe whatever topic I decide. I don't know, child. So I might have to do like a study, a case study or something like that. I may need your help. I don't know. We may need to do some group sessions together, figure this stuff out. Because I'm a psych student, so I'm still learning. But some of what I speak about is from experience, from wisdom and experience, not just what I learned in school, not the book stuff. This is from real life. Your life experience could be your best teacher. Because I don't want to go to a therapist that ain't never been through nothing. If I'm going to go to counseling, to a therapist, they say the best counselors, the best therapists are the ones who do it in the form of peer counseling, where they're not feeling like they're being judged or it's a dynamic of authoritarian and you're the client. They're feeling like they're talking to a friend, but a friend that has experienced similar things to what this person has experienced. They say the best treatments for like drug addicted people, people that have suffered from drug addiction and stuff like that, is being around people that have been through something similar. Because that similarity allows you to see, if this person made it for my ass. And my sister, I feel like all right, this is going to go into another topic. I was going to tell you about my sister that passed away. She also had a drug addiction problem, but we'll leave that one for another day. But I love you guys. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.